It's Valentine time, Valentine season. Breakfasts are being served. I hope they have not brought breakfast to your house. I trust that you have not been served a breakfast, but in case you have been served, never mind. That is why we are here discussing this matter right now. Welcome to Real Moments with FTO. I am Folaranmi Tunde Oyediran. Thank you for joining me. If you have been served, receive it with thanksgiving and move on with your life. If you have not been served, I hope and pray that you won't be served, because the experience is very painful. It could be a very challenging time in a person's life, but no matter what happens, you need to understand that people come into your life for different reasons. So if somebody walks into your life, you're in a relationship with someone for whatever length of time, all right, and eventually the relationship decides, or you decide to either on mutual agreement, or one of you decides to pack it up and he is no longer interested in the relationship. As painful as it is, you need to understand that probably what that person has been assigned to do in your life has been accomplished. All right, so there are people that add to our lives, there are people that subtract from our lives, there are people that help you to gain experience, there are people that, their presence in their life will cut off certain things from your life. So when you encounter someone who serves you breakfast, know that that person most probably have fulfilled his own assignment in your life. All right, and I did say in the last video that you should not, you should not try to heap the blame on yourself or be too hard on yourself. Like somebody asked that, how soon can I begin to go into another relationship, which is of course what we are talking about today. All right, there is no very specific time that I can give as a youth counselor on everyone. That's okay, this is the blanket time. Oh, maybe 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It depends on how hard, it's like the tornado. how hard the tornado of the breakfast hits you. Some people, it doesn't really make too much impact in their lives. Of course, depending, for instance, that's why I said depending on how far you have gone. If you have been sleeping together, you've been doing things together. For instance, some people will say, okay, since we're in a relationship, let's start a company together. You are a director, I'm a director, and then you've been running it for some months, and then you have some money in the account of the business, and then this, suddenly the relationship just collapses. All right, so it becomes so very complicated. For instance, somebody probably who has been pregnant, he has aborted 1 or 2 times, in the process of having a relationship with such a person. So depending on how deeply you have gone in that relationship, that's what will determine the length of time it takes for you to heal, for the wound to heal up. Because if the wound does not heal up and you jump into another relationship, instead of making the most of that relationship or giving your best to that relationship, you'll be using the other fellow, the other party, as what I can call like an healing balm, a kind of healing balm for that wound that you already have. So if the wound is not fully healed, it's not advisable that you go into another relationship. And if the person you are going to a relationship with, gets to know that, oh, you are hurting in this way, he or she can take advantage of that hurt and manipulate you. So that is why it is very important that as you have that experience of heartbreak, you must pour your heart on something, your affection on something that is worthwhile, on a vision, or maybe a skill that you need to learn, something you need to be doing in the community that will take your attention away and will over time make you forget the sorrow or the pain of the heartbreak. All right, so until you are healed satisfactorily, you shouldn't think of going into another relationship. And how do you know that you have been healed significantly? It's very simple to know. If you break up with somebody today, 1 month, 2 months, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks after that, when you remember some of the things you've done together before, you remember him, you see him on social media or whatever, you feel hot. So when you are still in that situation, that means you have not healed significantly. So the moment you see that person and it hurts you, or the moment you remember that person and it hurts you, or maybe there are some friends you have, some mutual friends that you have, anytime you are in discussion and you discuss about him or you discuss about her, you truly want to jump out of that discussion, you don't want to have anything to do, you are still hurting, you are still brooding over that. It means that you have not healed significantly for you to begin to enter into another relationship. Okay, so at the point when you begin to, well, it doesn't matter when you see the person, probably posting a picture, of himself, probably traveling with another person that he or she is involved in, and then, sometimes you want to wish that something bad will happen. Okay, so it means that you have not healed significantly. But when you just say, okay, you can even, send message to that person, rejoice with that person, congratulate that person, you can even wish him well or wish her well, without even feeling any form of hurt or pain, then we can say that you have healed significantly. And then you can begin to think about entering into another relationship. But until that happens, I always counsel that you don't attempt to go into any other relationship, because you will use that relationship as a healing balm. I hope you understand what I mean by that. You'll be using that person to be filling that hole. Instead of focusing on achieving something significant with that relationship, you'll just be thinking of how that person will feel. You'll be comparing that person with the other person. And then if the person is not very reasonable or responsible person, he begins to use that, especially for ladies, he begins to use that as a control knob of your life. It begins to manipulate you and make you to be driven very crazy. And it begins to use, probably you have discussed the experience with him. So it will begin to use that experience, to guard your life or to guide your life. And you know that is a kind of a hurting point of your life. So if it's not somebody that is responsible, it will want to be, once that area is touched, you are pained. And so you will use that as a control knob of your life. And then you begin to, if you are not being healed significantly, and perhaps you are somebody who saw yourself as being responsible for the breakup, okay, you want to be extra careful, instead of standing your ground on some issues, instead of contributing your own quota, to the development of that new relationship, you will be unnecessarily careful. You will become unnecessarily careful. Let me put it that way. Become unnecessarily careful. You don't want to say something that will offend the other fellow. You don't want to do something that the other fellow will pick hole in. You don't want to ask questions that will make him feel or make her feel as if you are one person or the other, so that you will not experience that breakup again. So that is why I always counsel that you need to heal up significantly before you begin to think about another relationship. For instance, there was a lady who broke up with a guy, and one of the reasons why they broke up was that the guy was always asking for sexual involvement and stuff like that. And he felt that, okay, you're not married, my parents do not even know you, we've not done certain things that are required by tradition, all right, so why should I give myself to you and stuff like that. So the guy was not willing to endure that, because I need to also, maybe one of these days I will be to talk about whether sex equals to love, or you can love without having sex. So maybe it's one of the things we are going to talk about. So this lady was served breakfast by this young man, and because this lady was moving with other ladies that were involved in relationships here and there, and so she was thinking that, I don't want to be left alone among my friends, I want to belong. So she entered another relationship without having healed significantly from the hurt of the previous relationship, and then she began to give herself very cheaply. The first guy that came and approached her, she jumped on the wagon and started having a relationship with that young girl. And the young guy began to manipulate her and use her to fulfill his own sexual drive and sexual desire, which eventually led to the girl becoming so used up that at the end of the day, that other relationship also, came to an abrupt end. And that's what always happens when one partner in that relationship is using another person to fill a gap and not, contributing something positively, to the relationship. So I hope this has opened your eyes to see that you do not need to enter into a relationship immediately until you can certify that you are significantly healed. I hope that this next relationship will not end in serving breakfast. But even if it does end in serving breakfast, that is not the end of your life. So I see you again next time. Keep following us on the social media handles that are scrolling on your screen, particularly on this YouTube channel. Follow me, Tunde Oyediran. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It is free for you to subscribe. And when you subscribe, you'll be able to get notifications anytime we post any video online. And I'm sure that you will be inspired by the videos that will be pushing out for you, and you'll be edified by them. You will be inspired by them. You'll be built up by them. Your journey in life and in destiny will be enhanced by them. Thank you again for joining me. I remain your friend, Follow me, Tunde Oyediran. See you next time.